Hi everyone, my name's Andrew Rouse, the TRAM Program Manager.
And I'm Bonnie Zhang, TRAM Program Coordinator. Together, we'd like to welcome you to the 2021 TRAMaganza, a celebration of research impact across the University of Melbourne and Parkville Precinct.
We'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which the TRAM home is located at Melbourne Connect, as well as the lands on which our participating teams from across our many campuses are situated, the Wurundjeri and Yorta Yorta people, and proudly pay our respect to their elders past, present and emerging.
Tonight, we'll be hearing from 12 of the incredible teams that participated in TRAM programs this year. And we'll celebrate the bold steps many researchers from across the university are taking to use their research to create positive change and global impact.
This has been a phenomenal year for TRAM. We've evolved and grown to ensure researchers continue to have the support they deserve. And for the first time in a single year, we have worked with researchers from every single faculty across the university, as well as across 3 campuses. We've seen our teams go on to create numerous firsts for the university, and we've grown our core team, welcoming Bonnie into the TRAM family.
Thanks so much, Andrew. From being by the research bench only 6 months ago, it has been so inspiring and eye-opening to see such a diversity in our TRAM cohort, from students just starting out their PhD to experienced group leaders, all open to learn how to take their research to the next level of impact.
I've been blown away by the enthusiasm of our participating researchers, overcoming so many obstacles to engage, explore and grow. And with over 220 researchers participating in TRAM programs, this has far and away been our biggest and best year to date. We've also seen TRAM relocate to its new home in the Melbourne Connect Innovation Precinct. This has enabled for the first time a space for researchers to play, learn and think differently about how their research can create impact in the world, whilst located next to other inspiring research-based startups from within the university ecosystem. We've seen teams raise hundreds of thousands in commercialisation grants and paying customers, and for the first time ever, a TRAM team has begun steps towards our first exit.
Tonight, we will be hearing from 5 teams from the track program and 7 teams from our runway program. It's been incredible to see the diversity in our cohort, from tackling ACL injuries and hay fever to public infrastructure and eco-anxiety. Our researchers do it all. You'll also hear from multiple TRAM alumni, known affectionately as our TRAM fam, who just a short few years ago were in the same position as our proud teams presenting tonight. They will introduce each speaker and update us on their exciting journeys.
After the event, you'll have the opportunity to ask questions and interact with our teams and their work, as well as each other, as we take this celebration virtual. We'll share post-event networking details at the end of formalities. We'll commence this celebration with a quick hello from the Executive Director of the Melbourne Entrepreneurial Centre, Colin McLeod. Over to you, Sarah.
Hi everyone, I'm Sarah Robertson, the Marketing, Communications and Events Manager for the Melbourne Entrepreneurial Centre, and I'm here with a very familiar face, Professor Colin McLeod, Executive Director of the Melbourne Entrepreneurial Centre. Welcome, Colin.
Well, hi Sarah, it's actually nice to see you in person again after all this time. We've spent a lot of time Zooming each other recently, but it's lovely to catch up with you in person.
We have, it's a bit strange, isn't it?
It's a bit unreal.
Now this is the 6th year of TRAM and it's been a big year with a new home, new team members and now finally coming out of our 6th lockdown. So it's great to round off this year with TRAMaganza. This event is all about celebrating research impact and entrepreneurship. But why is entrepreneurship important in a university context and why are we so interested in it?
Well, I think the reality is that for literally centuries, universities have been places of innovation, and as a world-leading research university, we've been one of those places. But I think over the last decade or so, there's been a very clear realisation that we want to do more than just invent things. We want to help take them out into the community. And that can be around policy issues, it can be around commercial opportunities, it can be around social innovation. So I think that's the broader thing, but inside the university itself, we see an ever-growing appetite amongst the research community for entrepreneurship. So I think in the first year of TRAM, we had a few dozen people go through our programs. 5 years later, we'll have a few hundred people go through our programs this year. And of course, we've also added to the TRAM programs. And the other thing is, of course, this year we're now housed at Melbourne Connect, which is meant to be a place where innovation and entrepreneurship come together with the community, with government and with industry.
For a program the size of TRAM, it certainly has very big ambitions. Why do you think that TRAM is so important to the university community?
I think TRAM has demonstrated that there is a model of university entrepreneurship that works. I mean, we say that in simple terms, our role is to connect innovation to social capital, financial capital and human capital. Skills, networks, mentors and I guess funding to take things into the broader community. And I think TRAM has shown that there's a model that works successfully, and I think now the challenge for the university is to say, how do we take that learning and extrapolate it across the university? But I think we're also seeing those same ideas reflected in the university's 2030 strategy.
Are there any teams that stand out to you that have really made the most of the whole TRAM experience?
I knew you were going to ask me that question, and honestly that is impossible to answer. I mean, when you're at a university that is a global leader in research, you see things that I think for people outside the university are absolutely mind-boggling, and you're going to see some of them tonight. We often say I'm a non-technical person, but you talk to people from all parts of the university and you see things, and we sometimes say we get to get a bit of a glimpse of the future, and as a good friend of ours in Silicon Valley says, once you've seen the future, it's very hard to unsee it.
Thanks so much for chatting to me today, Colin. I know we're both really excited to hear from all of the teams presenting today. So let's hear from them.
Hi, I'm Dr. Tia Cummins, clinical neuroscientist and CEO of Flintworks. At Flintworks, we are reimagining the future of mental health care through the development of digital products that will help in the treatment of complex mental illness. And we're starting with the development of an immersive clinical tool that will be used in the treatment of post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. Now, the Flintworks journey started in 2019 when we went through the TRAM program. TRAC is an 8-week program with a focus on understanding your customers and the problems they have. The program encourages teams to conduct lots of interviews with possible customers, enabling teams to reframe the problem to find a problem-solution fit. Now, I started TRAC with no real idea of how my scientific background in neuroscience could ever be applicable to a startup. I knew I wanted to translate my research into something meaningful, but I knew nothing about business, and I didn't know if my idea could ever be transformed into a viable product. TRAC is an intensive program, and it's filled with hands-on workshops and one-on-one coaching. I learned a lot during TRAC, both in class and during time spent with the other teams. My time in TRAC enabled me to take my passion and scientific knowledge and translate it into something scalable and commercially viable. Most importantly, TRAC taught me that the key to creating a good product is to fall in love with the customer's problem, not the solution. Now we're going to hear from 5 teams that have just finished TRAC. They will be telling us what they've learnt and how they've grown along the way. Our first team is developing the next generation of solar cell technologies, increasing the performance and most importantly, the efficiency of photovoltaic cells. Please welcome Tyra from Next Generation Solar.
Hi, my name is Tyra and I'm part of Team Next Generation Solar, and I'm excited to share with you my journey through the TRAC program. As you all know, solar panels work by absorbing particles of light and converting them into electricity. However, only particles with a specific amount of energy can be absorbed, while the rest, along with their energy, are lost forever. What this means is that current solar panels can only convert about 30% of the light that reaches them into electricity. And if we want to transition to a world that's powered by renewable solar energy, we really need to find a way to harness more power from the sun. That's why, at Next Generation Solar, we develop new materials to improve the efficiency of solar cells. These materials can be incorporated into existing solar panel technologies where they act to trap the sunlight that was previously lost, allowing us to get more power out of our panels. Before we began our TRAC journey, we believed our technology would best benefit residential rooftop solar by allowing more power out per dollar spent, and that therefore solar panel manufacturers would be our target customer base. So this is where we began our TRAM journey, interviewing stakeholders with experience in solar panel manufacturing and residential solar panel sales. And what we found is that manufacturing is dominated by cost reductions rather than efficiency gains. And this is achieved through supply chain optimization and advances in manufacturing processes. Because of these efforts, solar is now the cheapest it's ever been, establishing itself as a commodity in a market that's dominated by China. We also learned that end users value panel quality, service delivery, and meeting their home energy demands. And this can typically be achieved by the installation of an additional panel or 2. So although our technology might benefit residential rooftop solar, they might not necessarily be our first adopters, or those that are willing to invest to help get our solution off the ground. At this point, we decided to deviate and target sectors that are primarily concerned with efficiency and not with cost. We therefore started to target niche solar markets, so solar that's used in satellite and drone applications. And these sectors present unique opportunities for our technology, as size, weight, and efficiency are vital. And if we can increase the efficiency of our panel, we can also decrease its size. So speaking to stakeholders in these sectors, we learned that significant investment is already devoted to the development of efficient solar panels, as cell efficiency greatly affects mission capabilities. We also learned that our technology might help fast-track the development of drones capable of continuous flight, greatly expanding capabilities in surveillance and search and rescue operations. So through TRAMtrack, we've identified these sectors as our primary customer bases, as they not only have the biggest problem, but the biggest budget to solve that problem. So what's next for our technology? Well, we need to continue to develop it. And with that, we need to grow our team. We're specifically looking for synthetic organic chemists to help make these materials. We'd also like to continue through our customer discovery process and would appreciate any further insights or partnership opportunities in any of these sectors. Thank you.
The second team is developing a chemical manufacturing process that stabilizes proteins with the potential to lengthen the shelf life of a range of products. So let's hear from John from Hyper Stable Protein.
Hi there, my name is John Karras and I'd like to tell you about my project on hyperstable proteins. Protein molecules are used widely as safe and effective drugs. For example, insulin, an essential medicine for diabetes, is a small protein. Enzymes are also a type of protein that catalyse important chemical reactions. Enzymes are used widely in several sectors, such as the beverage industry. Unfortunately, proteins are susceptible to deactivation when subjected to excessive heat or certain chemical environments. This can reduce the shelf life of protein drugs and increase costs. For example, in the US, savings of $1 billion per year could be achieved if insulin expiry dates were increased from 2 days to 6 days in insulin pumps. My solution involves applying a chemical stabilisation technology to protein molecules. This could increase the shelf life of protein drugs and reduce the cost to individuals and also healthcare systems. Broader applications for enzymes could also be realised. The initial customer segment I focused on was the pharmaceutical sector. However, after conducting several interviews with experts, the consensus was that the protein stability issue has largely been addressed during the drug development process and also through the use of refrigerated storage. Therefore, I turned my attention to enzymes. The beer brewing industry has significant challenges. For example, more efficient use of malted barley is required, which could be achieved through improvements in enzyme technology. This could reduce manufacturing costs and also reduce the environmental footprint of growing barley. There are also opportunities in the wine industry. Stable proteins could prevent haze formation in wines instead of existing solutions such as the use of bentonite clay, which can alter the wine's flavour and colour. I also interviewed engineers who are utilising enzymes to improve yields in plant aquaculture. A key problem for their project is enzyme instability in seawater. Chemical modification can directly address this issue. Finally, I also interviewed several chemists who suggested that the heat instability of enzymes is a significant pain point for the chemical industry. For example, an enzyme that can convert plastic waste into high-value chemicals requires heat stabilisation for it to be commercially viable. This enzyme, in fact, will be my starting point. For my next steps, I'm planning to conduct a proof of concept study on the plastic degrading enzyme. I'll then obtain IP protection and seek out a commercial partner. As this technology matures, applications to other industries will be investigated. If you're interested in hearing more about my protein stabilisation technology or have ideas for collaboration, then please reach out. Many thanks for listening.
Hello, my name's Dr. Matthew Harrison. I'm a co-founder of Next Level Collaboration, a games-based social capacity building program for neurodiverse children and young adults. We completed the track and runway programs in 2020. We're proud that Next Level Collaboration was the first team to join the TRAM programs from the Melbourne Graduate School of Education. Our third team is developing a self-management intervention for skincare wounds that educates both nurses and patients on how to change dressings and care for their wounds from home. Please welcome Suzanne from Wound Care.
Hi, today I'm talking about innovating through self-treatment of wounds. The problem I'm trying to address is that patients should be able to self-treat their venous leg ulcers. Venous leg ulcers are chronic recurrent wounds of the lower leg that affect 500,000 Australians and cost $802 million per annum. These wounds have a significant negative impact on quality of life. I'm interested in self-treatment of wounds when the patient cleans the wounds and applies and removes dressings and compression bandaging. I know from my previous research that patients do self-treat and they want to self-treat, however that nurses need support to be able to promote this practice. My solution is a model of care for self-treatment of venous leg ulcers. This model of care includes education, support and clinical tools to encourage shared care between the patient and the nurse. Pre-TRAM, I knew of some of the problems and value propositions for patients and informal carers. However, I wasn't really clear on what the problems were and the value propositions for nurses, services and industries that were involved in wound care. So during TRAM, I undertook interviews with 15 stakeholders, including nurses, service managers, wound product industry representatives. I developed problem statements and value propositions and tested and refined those. I conducted ecosystem mapping to consider the flow of money, information and action between stakeholders and developed a vision. My learnings were that nurses needed and wanted self-treatment because it would promote better practice and give them greater job satisfaction. I learnt that self-treatment from the service perspective could reduce the demand and cost of service provision. And from the wound product industry perspective, they saw a supportive and educative role that would optimise the use of their products and lead to reputational gains. So my next steps are to continue talking and listening and to retest my assumptions. I'll continue to collaborate with stakeholders who have the biggest problems and perceive the greatest value. So my value proposition is that our innovative approach to wound care can support nurses to support patients to self-treat, saving valuable time and resources and aligning care with best practice. Our next steps are to work on a large grant application, and I'd be really interested to talk to people who are interested in collaborating with us on this initiative, particularly service delivery partners, implementation experts and co-funders. Thank you for listening and my contact details are on the slides.
The fourth team is creating a digital software platform to aid startups in building team culture to achieve alignment, cohesion and ultimately improve success within the team. Let's hear from Craig from Culture Catalyst.
Hi, we're Culture Catalyst. For startups, the technology, product market fit and capital raising are all hard enough. And then when it unravels because a team fails to fire, it's just a huge waste of potential for everyone involved. Half of all businesses started don't reach 5 years. CB Insights ranks team disharmony as one of the top reasons for startups failing. Team factors make it on most lists, and that doesn't even account for the indirect impact. And not much has changed in 20 years. This is a problem we're tackling. How do teams end up here and what can be done to avoid it? We sought to understand how startups and the ecosystem see team culture and dynamics that encourages. These are the stakeholders we spoke to. Startup leaders at teams that have grown rate team dynamics as hugely important. Things like working on the right problem at the right time, talking to the communication and openness required. Solo founders and small teams of friends are aware of both the gains and the difficulties. They have good intentions, but they've not yet really been tested. Between these two groups, teams are branching out face the unknown, recruiting from outside their own networks. They know the influence of early hires and they've heard the horror stories. Investors told us that team dynamics are big enough to be part of their due diligence, yet it's difficult to assess, even using dedicated tools. Accelerators prompt for tough conversations early on, particularly with founder matching and early founder teams. They might only last for a few months though, and then the teams move on. So investors and accelerators might not be our customers or users, but they play a key role in educating startups and introducing them to vetted tools. Startup teams that have grown past their immediate network, and those that are about to, are an ideal match. We need teams sharing those great ideas, despite the potential to look silly. We want team members raising issues they see early, before they blow, despite potential negative reactions from the team. Team members with a voice, erring to action and progress. We all set out with good intentions, and then along the way we face micro choices. Somehow, for some teams, we shift away from a target, and it's especially hard to notice when it's a slow, gradual change occurring. This is what we're addressing, with the vision of a digital tool to help startup teams unlock their team effectiveness and reach their full potential. Our next steps are diving deeper into the way team members interact and norms established. We'll be doing research with startup teams to identify shifting norms so that teams can more consciously choose and identify when they shift before they lose who they are. To do this, we'll be engaging directly with startups. Please contact us if you'd like to be involved.
Our final tram track team is well known to hay fever and asthma sufferers as the go-to platform for pollen count data and forecasts. They're now developing a web-based diagnostic tool that allows hay fever sufferers to track their symptoms and help clinicians to give accurate diagnosis and precise treatments to their patients. Please welcome Edwin from Melbourne Pollen.
Hi, my name's Ed and I'm excited to tell you about what we've been doing to help people with allergies and hay fever. One of the most common respiratory conditions in Australia is allergic rhinitis or hay fever, and it affects around 1 in 5 Australians, or around 4.6 million people. It's also a significant financial burden. Around $4.6 million each year is spent on hay fever medications. The second most common chronic respiratory condition in Australia is asthma, and it affects around 1 in 9 Australians, or around 2.9 million people. And unfortunately, more than 400 people die each year from asthma-related causes. And the thing about these two conditions is that biological material in the air, especially pollen, is a trigger for them. The Melbourne Pollen Service has been operating at the University of Melbourne for more than 30 years, and it's become a trusted source for environmental, allergenic and respiratory data. It's also a market-leading service. In 2020, we delivered more than 2 million screen views, and we're undergoing rapid organic growth at a rate of about 30% each year. Importantly though, we're a service that's loved by its users. We've received more than 4,000 reviews, and most of them refer to us as a life-saving service and something that really changes their lives. But we don't just benefit our users, we provide benefit across the entire value chain. We provide opportunities for manufacturers and retailers to provide targeted advertising opportunities, and there's scope to provide better diagnosis tools for clinicians. We also help governments reduce hospital admissions and protect the health emergency system. We also provide brand awareness for the University of Melbourne and of course attract research funding. Importantly though, we're also market active. Our forecasts are embedded into Victoria's emergency response and contribute to the epidemic thunderstorm asthma forecast service. We've implemented in-app purchases for our users, and our users are now helping contribute to this cost of service delivery. We've also developed relationships with commercial partners, but there are still many other opportunities to explore. Our proof of concept project is now almost complete, and next year we're looking towards establishing a sustainable Victorian service which will include the rollout of 8 automated bioaerosol monitors. We're then going to expand the service into key states and begin to develop the national branding strategy. Within the next 3 years, we plan to deploy the service nationally and begin expansion into overseas areas such as New Zealand. But to do all of this, we need help. We need capital investment to help us purchase the automated bioaerosol monitors. We need support to improve the app and make it scalable and improve product offerings. And we need assistance with national deployment of the service. And we'd love it if you're part of the journey. So if you think you can help, we'd love to hear from you. So please get in contact.
Hi, my name is Ray D'Agostine. I'm a professor in chemical engineering at the University of Melbourne. But more importantly, I'm a co-founder and director of Tiny Bright Things. At Tiny Bright Things, we're trying to revolutionize the way people use microscopes, particularly in discovery and manufacturing, so that our users can see things as small as a virus. But we're trying to keep this as simple and easy as putting on a pair of sunglasses. Myself and my co-founder, Chris Bolton, went through Runway in 2019. Runway is this fantastic 12-week program that builds on the great work that our teams have already done in Track to create product market fit. But in Runway, it's your chance to get stuck into your business model and start working on your market strategy to think about how your customers and users want to access your invention or product. Along the way, it's a chance to understand where you might need to change things and pivot and test, and what you need to do to make that happen. Your runway experience is exciting because you're taught by experts, you get to talk to people that have been through it before, but more importantly, it's an amazing chance to get out and talk to customers and users. I can't impart how important customer interviews are. This is a chance for you to start testing and validating your value proposition. And it is amazing and inspirational to talk to so many people where if you ask them questions and listen, what you can learn and just how generous they are with their time. Runway, as a researcher, really changed my perspective to see how commercialization and translation can affect how I think about research and solving problems. But as an inventor, Runway was our critical decision point to become founders, to decide that to see our invention translate to something people could use, we needed to see a path forward with a company. We're going to hear from 7 teams today that have just finished their Runway journey. You can hear about how they progressed and what their big, bright plans are for the future. The first Runway team to present is creating AI-based software that predicts how well patients with colorectal cancer respond to chemotherapy, making personalized treatment and cancer treatment a reality. Please welcome Janin from Whole Body Analytics.
Thank you so much for being here today. My name is Janan. Today I will talk to you about AI Precise, which is an artificial intelligence-based software which predicts how well patients respond to their chemotherapy treatments. This is our multidisciplinary team consisting of experts in artificial intelligence, mathematics, statistics, cancer research, as well as business development. In addition to being a multi-talented team, we are a bunch of individuals who are passionate about automating current clinical processes. Our goal is to improve cancer recovery time by personalizing treatments to suit each patient's body needs. Unfortunately, 50% of you watching this video will at some point in your lives have cancer. That means you will need chemotherapy. How patients respond to chemotherapeutic treatments is highly variable, with some patients having adverse drug reactions, some being okay, and some having a lack of response, which means that the cancer continues to grow and spread. When determining the best treatment protocol, clinicians rely on these imaging modalities called CT scans, which are cross-sectional scans of the human body. They look at the distribution of fat within these scans because the current assumption is the more fat you have, the more likely you are going to have adverse drug reactions. There is a lot of guesswork involved in the process, and this guesswork does come with a price. 35 to 40% of patients do not respond to their treatment in the way that is expected. So this one-dose-fits-all approach is not working. There is a real need to create a technology that will predict how well or how poorly patients respond to their treatments. Now, this is where AI Precise comes in. You are probably thinking, well, hasn't anyone looked into this previously? And the answer is, well, not really. On the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see the current software available, Slicematic. There are several issues with using Slicematic. It's a research-only tool. It has a very complicated user interface. To get the information about the fat distribution, the clinician has to do a lot of manual work, and this can take anywhere between 18 to 45 minutes per image. There's also no predictive dosing, and Slicematic only looks at 2D analyses. Now, if you compare that to our software on the right-hand side, you'll see a nice, clean, crisp user interface. Everything is done automated with the click of a button, and it only takes 25 seconds per image to extract all the relevant information. And this information is used to predict the right chemotherapy at the right dose. Our software also includes 2D and 3D analyses. Now, when comparing the softwares in terms of how many patients can be seen per day, with Slicematic, you can see at most 8 patients, whereas with AI Precise, over 100 patients, because it is 100 times faster. We've incorporated 3D modeling because the two-dimensional information is not really intuitive to describe what's happening throughout the body. Our 3D model allows clinicians to interactively assess the distribution of fat throughout the whole body to give a better estimate of how patients are going to respond to their treatments. While we have used the 3D model for cancer therapy, future iterations of the model can be applied to other areas of medicine. For example, looking at bone densities in osteoporosis cases. We've combined all of this information into an automated report. So the 2D and 3D analysis basically predicts which chemotherapy and which dose will be the best for the patient. So not only have we made the patient's lives easier, we have made the clinician's lives easier. There are several benefits to using our software. It improves the patient's quality of life, improves cancer recovery time, and it minimizes the amount of time the patient is readmitted back to hospital. Clinicians save time, they can see more patients, and the hospital also saves on costs because there's a time efficiency and also minimization in terms of readmissions. The current market size is 180 billion US dollars for the chemotherapeutic area, and there's a compounded annual growth rate of 7.7%. In terms of who will pay for the product, that'll be the hospital administrators. And the model we've used is the subscription model service. So in exchange for a monthly fee, not only do the clinicians have access to software, but they'll also have access to customer service, technical support, along with training materials. This is our development timeline. The 2D, 3D component has been finalized. The automated report is on the cusp of being finalized. And the next step is to conduct a randomized control trial in which we compare our AI product to the current treatment protocols. And then we'll use all of this information to register the software with the Therapeutics Good Australia. Now, in terms of opportunities to collaborate, if you are an investor, we do need some help and funding to get our randomized control trial off the ground. Alternatively, if you'd like to share some data, or if you think we can help you with our software, please reach out to us. Here are my contact details, both email, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And any other questions, I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much for your time.
Our second team is creating a multi-sided platform that aims to connect young people with established organizations to help tackle pressing environmental issues. Let's hear from Meenakshi from Eco Warriors Hub.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Meenakshi Arora, and today I'm going to talk about Eco Warriors Hub, which is a platform to empower youth to create a sustainable future. The problem we have identified is that young people, that include school-age children as well as university students, are highly passionate about environmental projects, but they are generally unsure on where to start and how to create positive impact. According to a survey we conducted in one of the Melbourne high school, over 90% of students feel eco-anxiety, which is the fear of environmental damage or ecological disaster. The organizations, on the other hand, feel the pressure to adopt more sustainable practices. To understand the problem from our stakeholders' perspective, we conducted over 60 interviews with both the groups. And we learned that young people and the school club leaders are highly passionate to engage with environmental projects, but they are generally time poor and they don't see the impact of their actions. They also struggle to find the relevant opportunities. On the other hand, the organizations we have interviewed are doing excellent work driven by policy or corporate social responsibility, but they are also working in silos and don't connect with other organizations as much as they would like. And they struggle to find volunteers, especially the young ones. So there is a clear gap in the market. And in order to bridge this gap, our solution is a multi-sided platform that will bring these two groups together. The platform will allow the organizations to advertise their events to young people and also collaborate amongst themselves. The platform will also allow the young people to post their own ideas to use the network for mentoring and funding support. The marketplace will connect the green businesses with young people who can organize the fundraisers to promote environmentally sustainable products like keep cups and steel straws, etc. But what makes Eco Warriors Hub different? If you look at the current market, there are a few platforms like Volley that connect volunteers with the projects. But there are only a handful which focus on young people. For example, Port Phillip Eco Centre and Government of Victoria's DELP program. But these programs have very limited portfolio of events and don't present much opportunity for collaboration across organizations. So our platform, Eco Warriors Hub, will present a one-stop shop for young people where they can collaborate with organizations as well as facilitate connections between them. So therefore, presenting an opportunity for young people to contribute to environmental projects and make impact, as well as for organizations, hassle-free volunteering opportunities. In terms of our market size, according to Volunteering Australia, over 400 million hours are being volunteered in environmental organizations every year. Our platform aims to facilitate at least 10% of this volunteering effort. Additionally, we also aim to attract a significant proportion of highly passionate 4 million school-age children in Australia, as well as university students. So this is the Australian market. We aim to start with Victoria and take it to Australia and beyond. In terms of our business model, we aim to finance our platform through the subscription fees we will receive from schools as well as organizations. Additionally, we aim to receive sponsorships and donations from the businesses, as well as promoting green businesses and charge a small fee for the transactions facilitated through our platform. So we have been continuing to develop our idea over the last 1 year, and through the numerous interviews we have conducted, we have a great understanding of the market gap as well as the problem solution fit. We have created a trial website as well as social media presence for ourselves. We have identified 2 schools and 2 organizations as our trial partners, and over the next few months, we aim to develop our platform and trial it with these identified partners. And on the basis of feedback we will receive, we will refine and optimize our platform before we launch it Victoria-wide in mid-2022 and then to Australia in 2023. To achieve our mid to short-term goals, we need some support. First of all, we are looking for a funding of 100K so that we can develop and test our platform. We are looking to expand our team in the area of software development as well as social media and marketing space. And finally, we are looking to set up our advisory board. Natalie and I are both scientists with experience in delivering projects with multiple stakeholders. But foremost, we both are mothers of children who are very passionate about environmental sustainability. We firsthand experience the enthusiasm school-age children have to save the planet. So if you share the vision and passion, please get in touch. We are Eco Warriors Hub, empowering youth to create a sustainable future. Thank you for listening.
Hi everyone, I'm Amy Yu, co-founder of Ventura Medical, and it's an absolute privilege to be here this afternoon at the 2021 TRAMaganza. Ventura Medical is a medtech startup developing an airway pressure monitoring device for infants on non-invasive respiratory support. And like these TRAM teams, our journey started at the University of Melbourne. We spun out of the Biodesign Innovation course in 2018, and we've since completed a number of programs, including the MAP Velocity program. We've raised over $1.2 million in funding, and we are now getting ready to commence our first clinical pilot study. We have been supported by the University of Melbourne since the start of our journey, and when we're not in lockdown, we are co-located with the TRAM program at the Melbourne Entrepreneurial Centre. The third runway team presenting today has developed a much needed evidence-based model for assessing the social value and impact of public infrastructure projects. Please welcome Hemanta from Social Value Model.
Hello everyone, I'm Hemanta Duloi, presenting here the social value model, briefly SVM. Why SVM? Often infrastructure projects do not have a valid business case. And most of the time, the expensive infrastructure projects are decided based on one single criteria known as cost-benefit analysis. However, the cost-benefit analysis alone does not incorporate the social impacts the projects create on the community. 1 in 4 projects fail due to 2 key reasons: public opposition as well as wrong selection of the projects. Globally, about $4.2 trillion are wasted in the failed projects. Classic examples is our East-West Link project, which costed the Victorian taxpayers over $1 billion as the kill fee. Currently, there is no any capacity in the marketplace to incorporate the community's viewpoint into the project decision making objectively. A classic example is our $16 billion current Northeast Link project, where the community is quite underrepresented. As you can see, the key suburbs along the project alignment, less than 1% people are being consulted for making the decisions in that project. What SVM is bringing here is a very unique solution where every single project issue is being scrutinized with respect to the community's viewpoints. That is where a computational algorithm has been created for SVM. This complex interdependent network analysis results in 3 important outcomes. What is the maximum social value that this project can create, and what can happen if project is not done, which is the do nothing scenario. As you can see here, the blue line is the maximum threshold the project can create based on the community's needs, requirements, and the expectations. And the red line here is the do nothing scenario, where the deterioration of the social value can be realized. And the green line here is the project social value being created by the project. Our intention here is to design and develop the project in such a way that the green line meets the blue line. And the gap between the green line and the blue line is a social value gap. Once you understand this social value gap, we can then maximize the social value in the project solutions. And we have identified these 4 categories of people who will be interested and benefited from SVM. So as a priority, SVM is quite ready to help the local government for realizing their social values in the projects. Because local government, they really prioritize the engagement with the community, and bring the social value in the core of their decision-making process. During our interview, we have also understood what is the current issues in the marketplace. So as you can see, detailed engagement is highly important for the council projects, and the biggest challenge that the government projects face is to find out who are the winners and the losers. That is where SVM can help. So the business case for SVM is predominantly the consulting services, where a selected project we can assess, we can monitor, we can ensure that it delivers the right social value over long period of time. We can also see the benefit of being partner with the organizations and the subscription-based services. In addition, we can also see that some of the government bodies will be benefited by having the research partnerships with us. Nationally, over $500 million is spent on business infrastructure projects annually. And this is where we can see that SVM can contribute for assessing the social value of those projects and making sure that the projects are designed and delivered to the expectation of the community at large. So SVM is a research-based model with validation and peer-reviewed publications. With the help of the TRAM program, SVM is now developing as a commercial product, and over next 2 quarters of next year, we will be deploying the SVM in the marketplace and test it out, basically the efficacy of the model with the help of the customers' projects. Thank you for listening to the social value model. Together, we can create our infrastructure projects that work for the community by aligning the needs and the requirements of the community at large. Thank you.
The next team has developed a platform with a suite of machine learning tools to aid drug development pipeline by reducing the risk of product failure and time to market. Please welcome Stephanie from BioSig.
Hi, I'm Stephanie and we are BioSig. We use artificial intelligence to speed up the development of new therapeutics. Our team consists of scientists with combined expertise in structural biology, drug design and discovery, pharmaceuticals, and artificial intelligence. And our motivation is to increase the efficiency of the therapeutic discovery process. Currently, it takes 12 to 15 years and $2.6 billion to bring one new therapeutic to market. This involves the screening of millions of potential candidates, which end up failing at different stages of the pharmaceutical pipeline. In fact, for every new therapeutic which makes it to market, it is estimated that $1.4 billion is spent researching compounds which never do. Compared to traditional approaches, the use of AI software helps identify compounds which are likely to fail early on in the process, meaning that resources can be directed towards compounds with a higher success potential. It is estimated that AI reduces the overall process by 5 years and the overall costs by half, meaning that clinical challenges can be tackled more efficiently and effectively. This is where BioSig fits in. At BioSig, we aim to develop artificial intelligence software which helps direct research efforts. Our software is based on graph-based signature technology, which accurately represents the underlying science by accounting for molecule shape, size, and nature within its predictions. Using this technology, we have developed a suite of software which offers value at the different stages of the pharmaceutical pipeline. Apart from ready-to-use software aimed at target validation and the development of orally active and injectable therapeutics, we also offer tailor-made solutions through our consultancy service. Because of our breadth of capabilities, we have identified our customers to range from small biotech to large pharmaceutical companies, where they have the flexibility to choose which software or service they may require. Over the years, we have gained significant traction within the global trillion-dollar pharmaceutical market based on word of mouth alone. More recently, our research focusing on novel therapeutic discovery in COVID-19 has attracted Pfizer to license our product, the details of which are commercial in confidence. Our largest traction, however, comes through our consultancy service, where companies have paid between $50,000 and $1 million for our product. Compared to other AI-based companies, We offer the largest range of software capability while also maintaining an easy-to-use platform and flexibility in licensing, which are particularly important for our small biotech customer base. Our largest competition comes from Extensia, who are based in the UK. However, they only focus on developing orally available medicines and do not possess the capabilities to develop injectable therapeutics like we do at Biosig. Moving forward, as we continuously develop new products, we are looking to further establish ourselves within the local and European markets, primarily by hiring an experienced and well-networked marketing executive to be able to engage effectively with our potential and current customers. This market engagement will help us further improve our software usability, for which we aim to hire a software developer in 2023. As the company grows, we are also looking to hire C-suite executives to be able to run the day-to-day operations of the company for effective launch in 2024. While we would appreciate any help you may be able to offer, we are primarily asking for $1.1 million to cover this proposed 3-year runway. This will strengthen our traction and our standing within the local and global pharmaceutical market. If interested, please contact David via email. Thank you for your attention. We are Biosig, and we use artificial intelligence to speed up the development of new therapeutics.
Hello everyone, my name is Jess Rollings, and I'm the other half of Next Level Collaboration. You have heard from my co-founder Matt Harrison earlier, and since our time at TRAM, we have made some really exciting progress. We have started running our pilot programs and have also partnered with some great organisations with similar values to support their events as well. Let me introduce you to the final 3 teams from this year's TRAM Runway cohort. Our 5th team today is providing a tailored consulting service to hydroponic farmers, a diverse and growing industry that lacks robust production standards. Please welcome Doran from Grow Hydro Solutions.
Hi, I'm Doran Gupta from Grow Hydro Solutions team. Controlled vertical hydroponic farming is producing crops with limited resources, such as nearly less than 75% of water than traditional farming, and using vertical space to produce nutritious, fresh crops year-round. Hydroponic farming needs expert advice to grow crops, artificial lighting, and nutrient-enriched water instead of soil. This cannot be achieved by an individual expert. Therefore, we as a team of experts, myself, Graham Brody, and Alexis, are expert in 3 diverse areas and are well equipped to provide expert advice for making this business profitable at various scales. There are 3 key drivers for this industry to thrive, such as minimum cost of inputs, water, nutrients, and energy, and also the right selection of crops for their optimum crop management, as well as minimum losses from diseases and pests. To solve the highlighted problems for successful establishment and profitability of this business, our team is well equipped and placed to provide consulting services. We offer customized service based on combined 20 years of experience and cutting-edge facilities to solve the problems of our customers. Looking at the customers and the market, nationally and internationally, this sector is divided into 3 major categories: few large growers, medium-scale growers, and new entrants. Looking at the key national statistics, currently the market is looking really good, with nearly $487.1 million being generated in revenue, and there are good projections for growth in future. There are some big players in the market, such as Alders, but they are well placed to provide advice and services to primarily broadacre farming. Whereas our team, Grow Hydro Solutions, is well equipped to provide tailored advice for hydroponic farming. There are independent advisors in the market. However, they work as individual experts, whereas we are a team of experts with our unique value proposition covering 3 diverse key areas to provide tailored advice to our customers. Based on our customer interviews, we have come up with 3 revenue models. Basic, which is less expensive and will primarily cover the new entrants in the market. Intermediate, which will provide some customized services. Then the premium one, which will deal with case-to-case basis and will primarily target our medium to large growers. Looking at the progress we have made so far and the timeline for next 5 to 8 months, currently we are working on our website, and we are also working on our first client proposal, where we are looking to optimize or provide standardized advice for growing 3 major crops. And we are also going to work in next 5 to 8 months finding right experts from finance and business side to join our team. We are also seeking proof of concept funding so that we are able to standardize few protocols for some common crops, which should be ready to be tested and being available as our first product to be sold through our company in coming times. We are asking for nearly $50,000 funding to standardize protocols on growing 3 common crops. If you are interested to fund us, we can work on a shared revenue model. We are also looking for your help for us to get connected with some right industry networks, especially from finance and business side. And we are also looking for some experts to join the advisory board panel. We are unique consulting service providers who are capable of making green grow greener. We are looking for your help. Please contact us if you need more information or if you can put right people in contact with us. We are working towards making this world a better place and finding solutions to provide healthy and nutritious food. Thank you for listening.
Our next team has created a digital spinal model capable of analysing and predicting the movement patterns that lead to ACL injuries, allowing clinicians to prescribe training programs to prevent injury. Please welcome Hussein from Towards Zero ACL Injuries.
Imagine you're watching your favorite game and suddenly your favorite player falls. And that would be a big injury to their knee, and that would let them be out of the game for a year and 9 months recovery. And it might be an ACL reconstruction surgery. So when you look at the media and you see the type of injuries that happen to elite sports, you see quite a lot of injuries happen. But when you dig into them, you see that ACL injury or a ligament within your knee joint is one of the biggest one and very common. And when you look at, for instance, the ACL injury in certain sports like AFLW, you see that 1 in 6 of them would get injured per season. And if you look at, for instance, the second ACL injury, it would be 6 times more likely to get injured compared to the first one. And female athletes are more likely, up to 8 times more than male counterparts. So when you ask people what they think about ACL injury, they say it's part of the game. But is it the part of the game? So for instance, imagine I tell you that you go out on the street and the accident is part of being on the road. Is this what we are looking for? We cannot prevent it. We cannot have any other precaution to minimize the kind of accident. So what is ACL injury? ACL injury happens when you are running, for instance, and changing suddenly the direction of your movement, or jumping and landing and suddenly changing the direction, and your muscles and joints cannot cope with that kind of excessive load. And when you look at, for instance, the way that we want to approach it and we want to minimize the effect is we go toward personalized approach. So imagine Sarah is going to play soccer as a career. We actually screen Sarah in advance and then develop a kind of digital twin of Sarah, computer-based models. And after that, we can actually tell Sarah and their coach which part of her body, the muscles, joint, are more likely to lead her toward injury or prevent the injury. So that would be more quantified rather than a very qualitative measure that we can see nowadays in the field. And we're not going to stop there. We would do the pre-season screening, and then we develop a computer-based models or digital twin of her. And then we keep going every 6 months or every season to make sure that Sarah can play safe and will enjoy playing. When you look at, for instance, the stakeholders of sport or specifically about injury, you see quite a lot of people involved. But what we have identified as customers would be coaches, would be physios, and definitely the players who want to play and keep playing. So toward zero ACL injury is going to change what is happening currently. Currently, ACL injury happens. And as I said, it happens among female athletes much more than male athletes. And it would take them like 9 months, 12 months out of the sport, and return to sport, it would be very challenging. And that may lead even to ACL injury reconstruction or even osteoarthritis. What we want to change towards zero ACL is to screen in advance and keep screening every 6 months or every season, and develop a digital twin of every single person, and we provide personalized training. This is our team, our great team we have. Currently we have mainly biomedical engineering students, and with a little bit of business background. We would love to have more people business background as well as the computer science. Please join us. What is next? So in the next few months and next year or so, we would like to have a MVP, a functional MVP that would enable us to basically expand it to a few more clubs, and then maybe understand and that the system works and everything is in the right place. We can actually expand it into a bigger, for instance, cloud-based or SaaS-based modeling, and then we can actually open it up to a national and international market. So thank you very much, and please feel free to ask us any question and join us. Thank you very much for listening.
Our final runway team has developed a platform that allows medical and behavioural researchers to access, search and visualise big personal data to increase the depth and impact of their research. Let's hear from Simon from Unforgettable Research Services.
My name's Simon Dennis, and I'm a professor in the Melbourne School of Psychological Sciences and CEO of Unforgettable Research Services. Google, Facebook, Twitter and other big tech companies make their profits based on their ability to predict human behaviour from the huge data sets that they collect. As yet, however, researchers in universities and scientific institutions have not taken advantage of these big data sources. Why is that? We've been conducting interviews with many researchers, and there are three main reasons. So the first one is that the data is difficult to access. Big tech companies have become increasingly restrictive in their willingness to share data. Secondly, the data is difficult to analyse. The research methods that are appropriate when you have billions of data points are quite different from what researchers are used to. And thirdly, the data is sensitive, and researchers are concerned that they might be invading people's privacy. In the next few slides, I'm going to go through our solutions to those problems. In order to gain access to data for researchers, we maintain a pool of users who are constantly collecting, creating a data asset that they own. When a researcher requests data, we send a request out to our pool, and they indicate whether they're willing to participate in the project. If they do, the researchers are given access to the data and the participants are paid. So we circumvent the control of big tech companies by dealing directly with the users. Currently, users can collect from over 600 data sources. These include their locations, app and phone data, browsing histories, social media posts, step counts and sleep data. Many standard surveys are available on the system, and researchers can create their own. While the one data source can be very useful, the true power of the system comes when multiple data sources are combined. In order to make data analysis easy, we've created an interface designed to look and feel familiar to researchers. The interface provides a set of standard statistical methods, but under the hood there are machine learning models, causal analysis methods and content analysis tools that provide the data in an already digested form. In order to protect people's privacy, we've created a state-of-the-art language called Private that tests the results that come out of an analysis for possible privacy breaches. Private allows researchers to conduct their analyses without seeing or being able to copy the raw data. Our solution is applicable to the clinical trials market, currently worth about $29 billion. However, it's also applicable more broadly to the health and behavioural sciences industry, currently worth about $1.8 trillion. Our current competitors are online work companies like Amazon, Mechanical Turk and Prolific Academic. These companies provide the connection between a researcher and users. However, they don't collect data, They don't provide any help with analysis. They don't allow users to create a data asset. And perhaps most critically, they don't provide any solution to maintain privacy. Our current business model is to have researchers pay to license the data. Project fees can range anywhere from $7,000 to $1 million, depending on the nature of the data that the researchers require. We've created a costing tool that allows researchers to input their requirements and receive an instant quote. Currently, we have over 4,000 users in the system and 16 projects served. We have about 3 terabytes of data stored. We've assembled an international and interdisciplinary team drawn from the behavioural and data sciences. Collectively, we have deep knowledge of computational behavioural research, strong machine learning and computational privacy expertise, extensive information technology industry experience, and broad academic networks. Our broad academic networks provide the links to our initial customers. We have a working system and we have paying customers. So the challenge for us now is how to supercharge the system. How do we get to our first 100 research customers? How do we get to our first 100,000 users? How do we fund the technological development to continue to refine our market fit? And how do we build a scalable and profitable business? Big data is the key to understanding human behaviour at scale and in detail. We believe that big data will provide the biggest step change in human sciences research that there has ever been. However, in order to reach that potential, we need to provide researchers with access to the data and the tools to be able to analyse it. And it needs to be done right, in collaboration with the users and with serious concern for their privacy. Realising that vision is the purpose of Unforgettable Research Services. Thanks for listening, and please visit us at www.unforgettable.me.
Let's give a big virtual round of applause to our wonderful TRAM teams who have come so far in such a short time under such difficult circumstances.
It has been an absolute pleasure to have been a part of each of your TRAM journeys thus far. Collectively, we have shared our experiences, given your research the limelight it deserves, and most importantly, we have learnt so much from each other.
But if there was just one highlight, it would be the enthusiasm that each team brought to TRAM in light of all that's been thrown at us this past year. So thank you to our teams for continuing to trust us week in, week out during this journey.
This is not an easy pathway, and it's simple to throw around idioms such as it takes a village, a rising tide lifts all boats, or none of us is as smart as all of us. But I think it goes much beyond that. It doesn't take a village, it takes a whole network of supporters. So to the 48 guest speakers, mentors, industry experts and coaches that have presented and worked with our teams this year, we send our most appreciative of thank yous.
It doesn't take a rising tide to lift all boats, rather a range of specialists across the university working with us to create the culture change in research that we long to see. To the entire knowledge and tech transfer, BDI and broader RIC team, Colin McLeod, the Executive Director of MEC, the Deans and Associate Deans whom have all funded and supported the team's participation in TRAM, we say the biggest thank you.
And finally, whilst none of us is as smart as all of us, being smart with no hustle does not get the job done. So our final thank you goes to the tireless efforts from our TRAM and broader MEC team, Jenny, Sarah, Abby and Abby. Without you, none of this would be possible. Whilst this has been TRAM's biggest and best year, as we look to the future, we'll be sad to be saying goodbye to one of the most important members of our team. Leonor Ryan has worked with the TRAM team for the last 4 years and has been absolutely pivotal to the success of so many of our researchers. Leonor leaves us to take on the exciting new role as Director of Incubator and Accelerator Programs at UTAS. Your knowledge, support, and above all your friendship will be missed by all of our teams.
That brings us to the conclusion of formalities. Now all that is left to do is grab a glass of sparkling and join us virtually as we continue to celebrate an amazing year for all of our teams. A link to the networking platform GatherTown has been emailed to you with your ticket and is also available on the Eventbrite page. This will enable you to interact with each other, connect with the teams and celebrate research impact from across the university. Thanks so much for your ongoing support and attendance. We'll see you shortly.